As we go to air, Israeli forces are inside Gaza's main hospital, conducting military operations with tanks and soldiers against what they claim are Hamas headquarters in tunnels beneath. Thousands of desperate Gaza residents trapped with nowhere to run. Al-Shifa, already rendered useless by relentless bombing, now under siege. For doctors, patients and civilians sheltering, there's no time to dwell on the horror. Israeli Defence Forces entered Gaza's biggest hospital.
We're still conducting an operation conducted by our special unit. The Israeli Navy SEALs are researching the hospital.
Israel claims Hamas is operating out of tunnels beneath Al-Shifa, and they are the ones who won't let Gazans leave.
We knew the terrorists were here. We knew. By intelligence, and also we got some fire from this area.
But even before the IDF stormed the hospital's compound, doctors were digging a mass grave.
We buried till now 82 dead bodies in that grave. And tomorrow we'll continue the work. Still there are a huge number of dead bodies are outside in the open space.
Both sides still blaming the other for the horrors at Al-Shifa. Civilians caught in the crossfire, paying the highest price. At Al-Shifa, thousands remain inside the sanctuary where they should have been safe.
Francesca Albanese is the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories. Francesca, the IDF says that it's been carrying out a precise and targeted operation inside the hospital because it claims that Hamas is hiding its command centre there. What's your view on this?
I speak as an independent expert of the United Nations, and hi, Sarah and Walid, Nick and Sam. So, first of all, we have heard that Israel is carrying out precise operations for days and days, and it has already killed more than 11,000 people, including 5,000 children, just to put things in context. And what I can say on Al-Shifa's hospital and its fate is that hospitals are protected or civilian objects. They might lose this protected status if there is a military action conducted from the hospital. But the burden of proof is, in this case, on Israel, and it has not been provided. But even if the hospital is being used for military purposes, the civilians inside the hospital do not lose their status. There are nurses, doctors, there are 670 patients and almost 7,000 displaced people whose life is at great risk right now.
Is Hamas using this hospital as a command centre?
You need to ask Israel to provide the proof that it is using it. Because, look, we have gone through 5 major wars before this one. And Israel has attacked hospitals and ambulances, claiming that they were being used by Hamas for military purposes. And most of these cases, the allegations proved false. I'm just saying, precedents.
So, Israel was always going to respond to the attacks of October 7. In your view, what would the correct response have looked like?
The response was to be given in terms of law enforcement, because Gaza is occupied and it's under belligerent occupation. So Israel has powers to enforce the law and to pursue all security measures that are deemed necessary, considering that this is occupied territory. It could have relied on the United Nations to demilitarize Hamas if this was the target. Instead, he has waged the war, claiming the right of self-defense under Article 51, which is the right to wage a war, the right to use a military force against another state. Well, again, we are talking of the people that Israel occupies, and it has occupied for 56 years now.
Sorry, so to be clear, are you saying Israel should have asked the United Nations to send in its own force to demilitarise Gaza and to remove the military capacity from Hamas, and that the United Nations would have undertaken that task?
Well, look, there have been other cases, including in Europe, I often cite the case of the Bataclan. The Bataclan was the most tragic and deadly terrorist attack that France has ever suffered, the greatest attack since the Second World War on its own territory. It emanated from a terrorist group in Belgium. Has France resorted to bomb entire civilian neighborhoods in Belgium? No. It used law enforcement operations. But because there is no entity other than Hamas in Gaza, which has ruled also thanks to the blockade that Israel has enforced for 17 years. I said that there is no other entity than the United Nations, that the multilateral system. And the question, you have a legitimate question there. Would have the United Nations agreed? The thing is that it has never been asked, but I think it would have, because it's a UN responsibility to ensure the maintenance of peace and security. And the UN also disposes of peacekeeping operations, which people like me have been asked for decades now. Not me for decades, but yes, for 16 months I've asked for a protective presence in the occupied Palestinian territory, which might help dilute the tension and prevent further loss of life. The attack of the 7th of October, tragic, which have been entail war crimes from Hamas against Israeli civilians. This was preventable. It could have prevented, it should have been prevented, and it didn't happen. Also because of the attitude of the international community, which has left carte blanche to Israel to continue its violations of international law against the Palestinian people.
Francesca, we'll have to leave it there, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.